Human beings everywhere share a longing for peace of mind. In the midst of daily life, people may have moments of happiness, but underneath there is often a current of restlessness, worry, or dissatisfaction. When we sit quietly, when we try to turn our attention inward, we often notice that the mind does not remain calm. It wanders, it resists, it clings, it struggles. Many people who begin the practice of meditation are surprised by this discovery. They expect silence, but they meet noise. They expect stillness, but they meet turbulence. Its own way of taking control, but together they form a circle that can keep the mind trapped. Why do they matter so much? Because they do not simply disturb meditation, they shape the way we live. When desire dominates, we chase after pleasures, but never feel truly satisfied. When ill will dominates, we live with anger or bitterness, harming ourselves and others. When sloth dominates, because meditation requires settling into what is here and now. Desire tells us that what is here and now is not enough, and so it pulls us away from presence. It flows from our own freedom. Thus, the second hindrance teaches us a powerful lesson. It shows us how easily the mind can close when faced with pain, but it also shows us the possibility of another way. By meeting anger with understanding, by cultivating kindness, we discover that the heart can remain open even in the face of difficulty. The fire of ill will no longer burns us, and the mind begins to rest in a peace that is not shaken by every irritation. What was once a prison becomes a doorway, leading us toward greater compassion and freedom. While desire pulls the mind forward and anger pushes it away, there is another force that drags the mind downward. This is the heaviness of sloth and torpor, the dull state in which energy fades and clarity disappears. Everyone knows what it feels like, the heaviness of the eyelids, the sinking of the body, the fog that clouds the thoughts. It is not simple physical tiredness, which can be solved by rest, but a deep lack of mental vitality, a sinking into laziness and lethargy. In daily life, this hindrance shows up as procrastination, as the tendency to put things off, as the half-sleeping state where we go through the motions without freshness. In meditation, it appears as drowsiness, as if the mind is wrapped in a heavy blanket, unable to stay sharp or alert. This hindrance can be deceptive because it feels quiet, unlike anger or restlessness, which are fiery and obvious. Just as a pond covered in thick moss cannot reflect the sky, the mind covered in lethargy cannot reflect truth. The causes of this hindrance vary. Sometimes it comes from the body, when we are genuinely tired, sick, or lacking proper care. Sometimes it comes from the mind, when we avoid facing something difficult by sinking into sleepiness. Sometimes it comes from imbalance, when we have tried too hard and then collapse, swinging from too much effort to no effort at all. Whatever the cause, the result is the same. The energy needed for awareness is not available, and the practice stalls. To overcome this hindrance, we first need honesty. Often, when dullness arises, we tell ourselves that we are meditating deeply, when in fact we are simply drifting toward sleep. By admitting clearly, the mind is heavy, the body is sinking, we bring a spark of awareness into the darkness. This very recognition begins to lift the fog. Awareness itself is energy, and the act of noticing dullness is already the beginning of waking up. Practical steps can also help. In daily life, we can take care of the body, resting when it is truly tired, exercising when it is stagnant, keeping the environment fresh and bright. In meditation, we can adjust posture, straighten the spine, open the eyes, or bring more alertness to the breath. Sometimes it helps to stand or walk instead of sitting, to bring movement into the body so that the energy rises. At other times, or too much relaxation that slides into laziness. The middle path is steady, neither tense nor slack. It is like tuning the strings of a musical instrument. Too tight, and they snap. Too loose, and they make no sound. When energy and relaxation are balanced, the mind becomes both calm and alert, the perfect state for meditation. It is also important to recognize that this hindrance is not an enemy, but a signal. It tells us that something in our life or practice is out of balance. Perhaps we are not caring for the body well enough. Perhaps we are avoiding emotional pain by sinking into numbness. Perhaps we need to refresh our inspiration, to remember why we are practicing at all. If we listen to this signal with patience, It can guide us toward greater wisdom. When the fog of dullness lifts, the contrast is striking. The mind becomes bright, open, and steady. Awareness is sharp and joyful. We realize that what we mistook for rest was actually a kind of prison. True rest does not come from sinking into heaviness, but from the lightness of a mind that is free and awake. This realization encourages us not to settle for the false peace of sleepiness, but to keep moving toward the living peace of clarity. Thus, the third hindrance shows us the danger of sinking into dullness, but also teaches us the value of balance and vitality. By meeting sloth and torpor with awareness, care, and wise adjustment, we prevent the mind from drowning in fog. Instead, we discover a state of wakeful calm, where the body is at ease and the mind is bright. In this brightness, meditation deepens naturally, and the path ahead becomes clearer. Another obstacle that unsettles the mind is the restless movement of thoughts, often joined with worry and regret. While sloth and torpor drag the mind downward into heaviness, restlessness pulls it upward and outward into agitation. It is the constant movement of a mind that cannot sit still, jumping from one idea to another, racing toward the future or circling around the past. Everyone has experienced this energy. We sit quietly, but the mind is far from quiet. It leaps from memory to plan, from fear to hope, from guilt to imagination. Even when the body is still, the inner world is full of noise. Restlessness can take many shapes. Sometimes it appears as excitement, when we are caught up in anticipation or fantasy. The mind plays out future scenarios, creating images of what might happen, and we become carried away by them. At other times it appears as anxiety, when we worry about problems, imagining all that could go wrong. Then there is regret, when the mind looks backward, replaying mistakes. The nature of restlessness and worry is rooted in discontent. Beneath the surface, the restless mind is not at ease with simply being. It feels that something is missing, that something more needs to be done, that something has gone wrong or might go wrong. Because of this, it cannot rest. The heart trembles like water shaken by the wind. And as long as the trembling continues, no clear reflection can appear. To overcome this hindrance, we first need patience. Fighting restlessness with anger only makes it worse. We remind ourselves that real solutions come from clarity, not from endless agitation. By calming the mind first, we prepare the ground for wise action later. Regret, too, needs to be understood in this way. The past cannot be changed, no matter how many times we replay it. Carrying guilt and self-blame only deepens suffering. What can be changed is the present moment and the future that flows from it. When we see this, regret transforms into resolve. Instead of clinging to, "I should not have done that," we shift to, "From now on, I will do better." In this way, the energy once wasted in worry and regret is turned into energy for growth. When restlessness and worry subside, the contrast is striking. The mind that was once scattered becomes gathered, like water settling after a storm. Clarity returns, and with it comes a natural sense of peace. This peace is not forced. It arises naturally when the constant movement stops. We realize that nothing was missing from the present moment after all. The restlessness was only a distraction, a veil covering the simple contentment of being here, now. The fourth hindrance, then, teaches us about the restless nature of the human mind, but also about the possibility of stillness. By observing the racing thoughts without feeding them, by grounding ourselves in the present, and by transforming regret into resolve, we discover that restlessness and worry are not permanent. They rise, they fall, and they can be released. In their absence, the mind becomes calm, steady, and free to reflect truth. What once felt like a prison of endless agitation becomes an open field of quiet awareness. The last of the 5 hindrances is doubt, and it may be the most subtle and difficult of all. Unlike desire, anger, dullness, or restlessness, which are felt strongly in the body and mind, doubt creeps in quietly. It does not burn or shake us. Instead, it whispers. It makes us question ourselves, question the path, and question whether peace is even possible. While some doubt can be healthy, encouraging us to investigate and seek truth, this hindrance is not the healthy kind. It is the kind of doubt that paralyzes the heart, that keeps us stuck, uncertain, and unwilling to take even one step forward. In life, doubt can show up as hesitation. We want to act, but we keep asking, what if this is wrong? What if I fail? What if others judge me? Instead of moving forward, we stand still, caught between possibilities. In meditation, doubt is especially destructive. We sit to practice, but soon a voice arises. Am I doing this right? Is this really working? What if I am wasting my time? What if peace is not real? These questions circle endlessly, creating no clarity, only confusion. The mind becomes tangled in its own arguments, and practice loses its strength. The nature of doubt is uncertainty. It is the fog that makes us lose sight of the path. When doubt takes over, even simple truths are hidden. Just as fog makes mountains disappear though they still stand firm, doubt makes wisdom disappear though it is still present. We may already have tasted moments of calm or insight, but when doubt arises, those experiences are dismissed or forgotten. The mind becomes its own enemy, refusing to trust what it has seen, demanding proof while rejecting every proof it receives. To overcome doubt, we must first recognize its voice. It is not the same as wise questioning, which seeks understanding. Wise questioning is alive, curious, and open. Doubt, in contrast, is heavy, cynical, and closed. It does not seek answers. It seeks excuses. It keeps us safe from risk by keeping us from moving at all. When we see this clearly, doubt begins to lose its authority. We realize that it is not the voice of truth, but the echo of fear. Trust is the medicine for doubt. Not blind trust, but trust built on experience. Each time we notice the breath and find even a little calm, we build trust. Each time we let go of anger and feel relief, we build trust. Each time we act with kindness and see the joy it brings, we build trust. These small proofs accumulate, giving us confidence in the path. The mind then has a foundation strong enough to withstand the whispers of doubt. It is also helpful to remember that doubt is natural. Everyone faces it. Even the greatest teachers and seekers had moments of uncertainty. The presence of doubt does not mean we are failing. It means we are human. What matters is how we respond. If we stop at doubt, we remain stuck. If we acknowledge it and keep moving, we grow. Over time, the fog clears and the mountains reappear. Sometimes doubt arises because we expect quick results. We want peace immediately, and when it does not come, we question everything. But real transformation is gradual, like a tree growing from a seed. We cannot see the change day by day, but over months and years it becomes undeniable. By remembering this, we strengthen patience. Patience itself weakens doubt, because it allows us to keep going even when certainty has not yet arrived. When doubt fades, the mind feels free, open, and confident. The same practice that once felt uncertain now feels steady. The same questions that once trapped us now seem unnecessary. We realize that truth does not need endless debating. It needs clear seeing. And this clear seeing arises not from argument, but from direct experience. Once the mind tastes freedom, doubt cannot shake it anymore. The fifth hindrance, then, is the shadow of uncertainty that hides the light of truth. But when faced with awareness, trust, and patience, the shadow dissolves. In its place appears a quiet confidence, not arrogant, not blind, but steady and real. With this confidence, the path ahead no longer seems impossible. It becomes a journey we are willing to walk, step by step, with courage and clarity. Doubt no longer chains us. Instead, it becomes another lesson, teaching us that trust grows not from words, but from lived experience, from the direct knowing of peace within. When we step back and look at the 5 hindrances together, we see that they are not enemies outside of us, but natural movements of the human mind. Desire pulls us forward, anger pushes us back, dullness drags us down, restlessness pulls us in all directions, and doubt freezes us in place. These 5 forces explain why peace is so rare and why clarity is so easily lost. They are like veils over the mind, each one covering the simple truth that is always here. To overcome them is not to fight or destroy them, but to understand and release them. The practice is not about perfection, but about awareness. Each time we notice a hindrance,